Thank you, and hopefully, yes, I hear it's working. Actually, I will not be telling much about Yandex itself because this topic is about everything and almost everyone and every single business now. I like this comparison between data and oil because it is actually much deeper than it looks. Oil is practically useless for us here, but most of us do use everything produced from oil, starting from oil, from gas we use in our cars, and actually all these plastic things, they are also made of oil. So, like oil, data is practically nothing until we start processing and using products based on data or on oil. And here comes two very popular phrases, big data and data science. And honestly, I don't like big data as a marketing metaphor, because data, useful data, not necessarily are big. I'd rather tell you about data science, because when you speak about big data, it looks like only big guys like Google, Yandex, eBay, Amazon. They are big enough to have this huge amount of data, and we are smaller. So why should we care? Everyone should care about data when it comes to data science and using it. What's traditional views of how you can use data? Lots of traditional sciences are physics, biology, I don't know, psychology. They all now are based on experimental data. So traditionally we use data for better understanding, and it's what gives us something to think about, and it involves lots of our brain activity. Processing data. We build models, and it sometimes takes days, if you're lucky, frequently years, to come to conclusion to a useful model. But when we speak about modern data science, it's very different. Of course, sometimes data, big data, still help us build models or reach deeper understanding. But in many cases, we use machines. It's part of the answer to the question, which is headline of the conference. Will machines finally replace us humans as marketeers? In many cases, they will. Why? Because sometimes you need the answer, which is technically called result of prediction algorithm. We need these answers really, really fast. Advertising is a good example. Look at traditional media planning. You think about what is the best page to show my banner, what is the best channel on YouTube, or what is the best community, or what is the best Facebook group or Facebook page to share information about our products. Then, based on our thinking, we do some placement. But in many cases, now, these decisions are made on a much more personalized level. What is right advertising for this particular person at this particular minute? And you don't have time to think it over. You have a fraction of a second to make a decision. And that's why all modern system for showing advertising is based on complicated and very fast algorithms. And those decisions, who will see your ad so that it is most efficient, so that it produces highest ROI, that you don't waste your money, all these decisions are made by algorithm, hundreds times a second, and there is no chance for you to compete with it. So technology is becoming very important, like in many other areas, in some specific tasks where robots, machines, mathematics is much better than we are. so in many, many cases, this thoughtful guy is successfully replaced with huge, not brains, but huge servers. They are not smart in general, that they cannot think, but like in many other cases around us, machines are efficient for specific, very well detailed tasks. So what can we do with this data? Where are those areas where machines are really efficient? Well, we have heard in the morning lots about things which actually have no direct relations to the web. I'm honestly am surprised with the title of this conference. It's called Web 3.0, but lots of time in the morning we spent listening to things which has nothing to do with the web. With the web as we understand it, web is a huge amount of static pages interconnected with hyperlinks. That's the definition of traditional web. But sorry, when this device talks to that, and that device talks to a server, and the information comes as a buzz of my other device, come on, there's no web here. And that's what is getting more and more part of our connected life. And connected life goes to all these gadgets, to the Internet of Things, to applications, much more than to traditional web. So if you are marketers who are going to work in this field of marketing, of digital marketing, in the years to come, please stop thinking about the web. Start thinking about connected world. Because that is the future which comes really, really faster than we expect. I've been on the internet as an active user since 1995. And all that time I was thinking, oh, how fast the internet is changing. Now I see, no, that was the time when internet was changing really slowly. Now, with all these devices, with all these tablets, mobile phones, which are more powerful than many computers, now is the time of really fast changes. Please, don't forget about it and keep the same pace of your changes. So a few examples, coming back to data. A few examples, what is traditional big data or data science clear, successful examples. If you never visited, I suggest you to visit the site Ancestry.com. This is a good example how different can be data we use to extract useful information. Ancestry.com, they are practically building the history of mankind. Of course, they started with the United States because it's an American company, mostly serving American users. But for building family trees, for giving people information about unknown relatives, they use really strange combinations of data. First, official records, historical content, because there are lots of records. Then people who are really interested, they share their own knowledge and data about their families they know only inside. And completely different source, genetics. Now you can spit in a tube, send it for, I think, $99 to a lab, and lab will give you the sequence of your genes. And these records can be compared to sequences of different people, of other people who also spit in a tube 2 days ago, or to some genetic information from, say, a grave, because, I don't know, there are graves of famous people, I don't know, Napoleon in France, and you can analyze his hair so that all of a sudden you find out, oh, he is my relative. Yes, very distant, but he is my relative. Genetics says so. So all these strange interconnections between images recognized from private archives, from formal records, and from your saliva produce new knowledge. That is classics of data science like it looks today. Combining very strange data sets, you get correlations, you get links between these data, finally you produce new knowledge. And that is a really very successful, I cannot even call it startup because it's more than a startup now. Well, more practically and more funny example, also a really amazing product, amazing service which is called eHarmony. It's dating service. And they sit on a huge amount of data because they have long track record of how successful this dating is. People start to connect with each other, and finally they very often get married because it's the service for serious relationships. No, it really is. And then they can find correlations, and some correlations are well sort of obvious intuitively. That's the correlation, the probability of successful date and maybe building a family finally between the height difference. So obvious. We all understand why boys should be, 10 to 20 centimeters higher than girls on average. Yeah, that's quite obvious. But then let's look at a different metric. What should be how the distance between two people results in success of their final interaction. And it looks like, well, if they are closer, then there should be more successes. So there should be a monotonous dependence. No. It turns out that psychology comes here. And if you look at the beginning of this curve, and that's distance in miles, yes, it's falling down. The larger the distance between the two partners when they connect on the internet, the less probable they finally become real physical partners. But then, at the level of about 100 kilometers, the dependence disappears. Because if you find someone who really looks important for you, who really looks like a good match for you, then it doesn't matter 100 kilometers or 500 kilometers, because it's anyway, it's 1 hour on a car or a train, or 1 hour or on a plane. Psychologically, there is really big difference between 100 kilometers and, say, 1 kilometer. But between 100 kilometers and several hundred kilometers, turns out there is no difference. And that's something of a sort of insight, which tells us something about people we didn't know before. Of course, algorithms take this into account automatically, but analyzing the final results, you may learn something for your understanding. And this is the best example from their presentation I really love. That's food preferences. And again, it looks like if people share their food preferences, then they can go to the same restaurant, and perhaps the probability that they will become partners is higher. No, not necessarily. It turns out that people, maybe they don't express it, but they really don't like partners who like fast food. So if you both prefer hamburgers, then it's 42% below the average that you will be successful as partners. And anyway, looks at this Red Cross. If at least one of the partners likes hamburgers, there's a danger. On the other hand, if you both are vegetarians, it's plus 44% above the average. So vegetarians really go well along. It's again counterintuitive, but that's life. But that is an example of how algorithms give us new knowledge. They actually work without sharing this knowledge, but we can look at the records, at the results, analyze, and get satisfied. However, again, that's machine learning. those algorithms, they even give us new knowledge, but they are not based on any our ideas of what should share these two partners with each other to become a successful pair. They just work automatically. And lots of other everyday tasks like traffic predictions, like real-time bidding in advertising, like search actually. All these examples are done, are the examples of solutions of results based on machine learning. Machines learn what is actually the best way to offer you something when you buy, I don't know, a mobile device. And it's based not on our understanding, it's based on their machining, automated analysis of behavior of millions of shoppers. And they know better finally than any expert. So all these examples show us that without machine learning and algorithms, nothing can be really successful in this very diverse area. And there is one more danger, really important danger. It's the danger, again, like oil, it can be useful. We are something made of oil, not everything, but a lot of things on us. But there is a serious danger with data. They can be useful and they can ruin your business. Because people do respect privacy. It's part of how our brains, how our personalities work. And when you start using all the data available mindlessly, without thinking what you really can use, you know, about a person, and what you should never use, what you do know, you may get in trouble. There are lots of examples, and perhaps the most fresh example is that now there is a huge document. Hopefully you will finally get this presentation and can click on this long link. That's a very fresh report from United States government, big data, seizing opportunities and preserving values. And there are really, really thoughtful analysis of what should you do and what you should never do with the data you possess, with the data you collect from your customers, from your visitors, and so on. So please, with all this joy of having data, of being able to use data for making your business successful, always remember, the moment when people feel that you use their data against their will, against their wishes, you are in deep trouble, first psychologically, finally even legally. So this is a really serious warning, and getting more and more serious while we get more and more data about people's health, about people's sleep hours, because this device even reports where, when, and how well do I sleep. And you should be very careful when you sit on data like that about a particular person. And of course, the data sources will be more and more different in the not just years, in the months to come, because every month we have more and more devices, small, relatively small devices like on this picture, or bigger devices which are connected. So instead of Web 3.0, I'd rather say that we are already running into new interconnected digital world. And in this world, we cannot survive without handling data. And we should take it as a huge opportunity which finally will help us get more money in our business. And that is where only you, your brains, can think of the ways how to use the data. And then let the robots do the work for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Спасибо.